So we went to Cusco. We did the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu. We also went to Oxapampa in the high jungle of Peru. And then we finished up our time in Lima. A lot of Peruvian itineraries will include all of these. They'll include Lima. You have to go through Lima pretty much to go anywhere once you because it's where you arrive. And almost everybody goes to Cusco and Machu Picchu because it's so famous and awesome. And I mean, it's a wonder of the world for good reason. And most people, a lot of people, not most, will go to the jungle as well. The jungle is very close to Cusco. The jungle we went to wasn't, but I'll explain that later on as we go through our itinerary a bit. We went in August. August is a good time to go to Peru. Why? Well, because Peru is really kind of three countries. You have the desert on the coast where Lima is. You have the mountains of the Andes where you have Cusco and Machu Picchu. And you have the jungle, which is the actually geographically the largest of the three. Lima, because of the desert, doesn't really get much rain, but it's cloudy 8 months out of the year. So a lot of times it's cloudy and depressing. The only time where it's sunny is from about November through March. But most people don't go to Peru that time because that's the worst time to go to the mountains and the jungle because it's rainy season. Now you can go to Cusco and Machu Picchu in the rainy season, but there is a chance you'll just have more a setback or two from landslides or getting rained out somewhere or just not really getting to see Machu Picchu because it's raining the entire time. And the jungle when it rains it throws up a whole bunch of other logistical issues in terms of really just roads can be wiped out from landslides for days at a time. And again, you can go, but it's not as common. So most people go from about beginning in April and May through about September and October to Peru. So we went right in August. And the weather was great. We got a little bit of rain, I think, in the jungle, but it was like a refreshing rain. It wasn't torrential. We didn't get rained out. And that was really it. The rest of the time it was really sunny and warm, not hot. Lima was a little cloudy, but we expected that. But it wasn't cold. And all in all, just kind of perfect. So, because of that, packing is really difficult because Peru is kind of three countries: desert or coast and mountains and jungle. You have to pack for all three. You have to pack for cold, dry weather that can get warmer as the day goes on in the mountains. You have to pack for just humid and warm to hot in the jungle and a little chilly and cloudy on the coast. And so really people recommend packing in layers so you can just layer on, layer off as you're traveling or walking throughout the day. I think that's a great tip. Just bring the right clothes for wherever you're going and the activity. There's more information on what we packed in the articles that we wrote about each site and activity that we did. Those are in the description here. It'll also be in the videos coming up after this one because we did a video of this entire trip of what our time was like in Cusco, then the Inca Trail, and then a video of walking around the ecolodge in the jungle, and finally just walking around and enjoying and eating the awesome food in Lima. Just a few things I would say definitely bring. Bring bug spray for the jungle and or the Inca Trail. They recommended bringing bug spray with DEET. We didn't bring bug spray with DEET. We were still fine, but we needed bug spray. Don't forget that. If you have sensitive sinuses, bring something for that if you are going to a high altitude area. That includes Cusco because Cusco is at about 12,000 feet. So you've probably heard of altitude sickness if you've done any research to travel to Peru. Most people have a little bit of shortness of breath, maybe a minor headache, for a day or two as they're acclimating. It's usually nothing major at all. But one thing they don't tell you is the change in air pressure can kind of mess with your sinuses. So it's not, this is an altitude sickness. It's like a sinus infection. So that's what I got. And it was just really annoying. I was still able to do everything I wanted to do, but I wish I had brought like an antihistamine or something just to calm that down before, no, or to catch it before it got started. So I recommend that. Bring an adapter for whatever you have to plug in to the wall. Bring sunglasses and sunblock no matter where you're going. It's going to be sunny. In the mountains, you're closer to the sun. You're going to get burnt. And again, layer in clothes. The final tip for packing is pack by activity or location. For example, we started our trip in Cusco and the Inca Trail. So everything for those places and activities, I put in one bag for me. And then for the rest of the trip, I put in another bag. So I'm not rummaging through all my clothes that are for warmer weather when I need a sweater, stuff like that. So that's what I would recommend. That makes it easier. So let's talk about it. First, we flew straight to Cusco. Well, we flew to Lima and then we didn't leave the airport. We just hopped on a plane and an hour and a half later, we are in Cusco, like 12,000 feet in the air. It's chilly, it's beautiful, it's brisk. We're in the valley of the Andes Mountains, the center of the Incan Empire, all that great stuff. We really wanted to do the Inca Trail this trip. That was like the highlight. So we were in Cusco for the minimum time allowable to acclimate so we could do the Inca Trail, and that's 2 days. In those 2 days, we checked out Sacsayhuaman and some of the sites next to that. Sacsayhuaman is this ancient Incan, I think it's a sacred site and fortress. Has a lot of really great history and cultural significance. It's really worth the tour. You can walk to it from our hotel, and so it was totally worth it. We walked down from there to the plaza, which was the center of the Incan Empire. A lot of nice restaurants and just nice looking buildings and churches surrounding it. This cool statue of the Inca in the middle. For lunch, we walked up to San Blas, this artisan neighborhood. I don't remember where we ate, but it was very good. That's all. I wish I could tell you more. And then we walked to the Cori Cancha, which is the Sun Temple. You can't take many photos inside the Cori Cancha, but it is the original Incan temple without all the gold that used to be there. And on top of it, the Spanish put their, I guess, cathedral. So you see both next to each other. It's really great. It's really great. I would say it's kind of a must do if you want to do something cultural or like a museum in Cusco. And then we went to bed really early because it was like a 3 something a.m. wake up to start the Inca Trail. We did the 2-day Inca Trail, which is really 1 day of hiking on the Inca Trail. And you arrive to Machu Picchu that day. And then you spend the night in the town of Aguas Calientes. And the next day you get a full tour of Machu Picchu. It really was unbelievable. It's not really high altitude. The entire trail is at a lower altitude than Cusco. So if you're worried at all about the altitude, the 2-day Inca Trail is the way to go. You're going to be in Cusco for 2 days, and then your body's going to be totally ready for altitude, which you won't even see on the trail. So do that. You're walking through just lush jungle vegetation, and you walk through a couple Incan sites that are just really magnificent. You have to go with a guide, which is good because you learn, ideally they'll tell you about the culture and history of the Incas and their descendants. It's kind of the ultimate adventure / outdoor cultural experience all wrapped in one. And then you get to the Sun Gate at the end, which just shows you Machu Picchu below. And it's an experience. It was we knew the Inca Trail, it's rated as one of the best trails to do in the world. And so you don't want to overhype it, but it was very amazing. And we did a whole video about it. Check it out. Of course, we did Machu Picchu on day two. The We signed up for the Huaynu Picchu hike, which is optional. If you just want to walk around Machu Picchu with your tour guide, you'll get enough out of that. Huaynu Picchu is I think it's about an hour and a half steep hike to the top of the mountain next to Machu Picchu. After that, we were in Cusco for a day. We kind of checked out a couple markets. I think we bought some things we had thought about buying. There's always like these cool tourist markets in Cusco. And hopped on a plane the next day to Lima because we went to the jungle. But instead of going to the nearby jungles that are, I think, like a half-hour plane ride away, we went to Oxapampa. It's the high jungle in the center of Peru called the Selva Central or Central Jungle. It's My wife is from there, Janina, so we go there. Been there several times. It's very touristy, but not as much for international tourists. So there is a draw there. It was a German settlement, and still there is architecture and food and culture and dresses and that are all German. So there's like a German brewery in the middle of the jungle, and it's just so cool. You have to take a 10-hour bus ride from Lima, which sounds daunting. But we just did the overnight bus in a bus kama, and we fell asleep, woke up, and it's warm, sunny, green, and just it feels nice. So it was very pleasant. We stayed at this hotel Carolina Egg for a couple of days. We've got our own bungalows again, great food. So and then we went to the ecolodge Ucumano for a couple of days, where we did a couple hikes to like a cave. We did the canopy hike around at nighttime under the full moon, and that was an unexpected highlight. We knew the Inca Trail would be amazing. This came very close. I thought it was just as amazing because we had our own. Every bungalow is separate. It's its own cabin. You're walking around in the jungle. It's just incredibly beautiful. It's run by this really cute, awesome family. The food they make is awesome. Like you don't know how they have this amazing fresh food. It's just this family doing it. Really well run, really beautiful. Yeah, we did a video of us just walking through the jungle at Ucumano too. We spent a few more days in Oxa, as we call Oxapampa, in Oxa. After that, I would say, um, after that, just chilling. Carolina Egg has a pool and a bonfire area. So, and the weather is like spring. It's like a little cold a little chilly in the morning. Then it gets warm and sunny, and then it's bonfire weather at like 8. So it was just ideal. We then got on the bus, went back to Lima. The way back to Lima was a bit rougher because the road close to Oxa has a lot of switchbacks. So it was easy for us to fall asleep leaving Lima, but leaving Oxapampa not as much. So if you get some kind of motion sickness, bring something for that just to make your ride easier. And in Lima we did Lima was it was a little disappointing at first because we were in this bright green beautiful town, and then we show up and it's gray and cold and cloudy, kind of depressing. But we got out of Lima exactly what we wanted. We recharged from all those outdoor activities we were doing. We ate amazing food, such amazing food. And I took like a nice relaxing bike ride along the boardwalk. There's great museums and markets and stuff in Lima, being Peru's capital. So yeah, I like Lima. It was it was a shock going into the cloudiness of Lima in August, but it was all good in the end. Just a few days, just a couple days was enough. Overall impressions of each place, service in Peru to tourists has really gotten better since the pandemic. And this kind of, we thought it would be the opposite. But we think what happened is a lot of people that were living in Lima and had worked in tourism or at like hotels or had studied had left because it was so difficult and expensive to live there during the pandemic. They opened up their own shops or tour guide companies or started working for restaurants in, Cusco and Oxapampa and these surrounding areas. And now just the comfort and professional service given to tourists is better. It wasn't bad, but now it's like leveled up even. That was really cool. Things were more expensive than the last time we went, which I think was 2019, which makes sense. I mean, I'm talking about our trip in 2022 in August. But I mean, with inflation, that's expected. The dollar was very strong, so that kind of offset it. It was like 4 to 1. Now it's probably around 3.5 to 1, I think. Peru is still amazing for outdoor travel. We did hiking, we did the canopy walk, I did my bike ride. We could have done zip lining in Oxapampa or rappelling. We had the option to do in Miraflores in Lima. It was like this paragliding thing. I forget why we didn't do it, but you can go surfing. It's like 20 soles an hour, the same as biking, which is like $5 to rent a bike or a surfboard. It seemed safer than before. Now Peru has gone through a lot since August 2022 with there's a lot of political unrest and civil unrest. But at the time, it felt really safe. People were just walking around with their iPhones and GoPros out. And before we felt safe, but think you wouldn't do that as much because of pickpockets. But looking around, it seems like pickpocketing isn't as much of a concern, which is just an anecdote that we noticed. And the food. Oh my God. Peru is the food capital of South America, and they just like keep getting better. Check out our Lima video for all the places we ate in Peru and Lima. Oh my God. Even on the Inca Trail, we had this fresh guacamole in the middle of the hike. And I don't know how you do that because they're walking carrying the avocados. They bruise easily. Guacamole goes bad so fast, and it was there and fresh and amazing. But just all of it was so good. Each location, I would say, let's say, where would I eat or drink at each location? We stayed at Nino's Hotel in Cusco. Nino's is cool. It's really comfy. It's in a good location. All the proceeds go to orphans in Cusco, which is why it's called Niños. That means children. And the food is so good. Like, go to the restaurant. I think you can go even if you're not staying at Nino's. So, the pumpkin soup, amazing. All the food was good, but the pumpkin soup, like, that stood out. And in Oxapampa, Dorcher, it's like a brew pub. They make their own beer, including these German recipes that they only make in Germany, but apparently this brewer, how do you say it? Brewery. This beer making company got this, I don't know, the license to do it. Anyway, the food was great too. They like amazing burgers and fries. Go there. They have a location in Lima as well. I think we went to Dorcher like 3 times this trip. In Lima, I mean, we made a whole video about this. That the place that stood out was probably Panchita in Miraflores. I had never heard of it before. It seemed to be where all the Peruvians go. It's like the local. And oh my God, it was just the traditional good Peruvian food. It was our last meal of the trip. Saved the best for last. So good. Anyway, coming up, if you keep watching, there's videos of the entire trip, starting with Cusco, followed by the Inca Trail, and then Oxapampa and Lima. Please check it out. Check out our articles in each site to see more detail so you can plan your adventure as well. And thank you for listening. Have a great day.